Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
About 10 months ago, Matt Ishbia said the words that now haunt him. He said 26 other teams would gladly trade places with his Phoenix Suns, and he swore the house was not on fire. Today, alas, there is nothing but smoldering timber and ash. You can point fingers in every direction. Ready, fire, aim. Very few are absolved from the wreckage of these Suns, a team that will pay more in luxury tax than the six-seeded Pistons spent for their entire roster. From the top down, this organization needs a long, hard look in the mirror. Now, if you need optimism, take solace in Devin Booker. He's assured Suns fans that things will get better. He's acknowledged that he needs to be a better leader. There is a vibe about him that is reassuring, a realization that he needs to be the guy to save us from this calamitous mess. Because 2.5 years into Ishbia's ownership, the Suns are again the laughingstock of the association. Stephen A. Smith said this morning he's on the verge of becoming the worst owner in the history of the NBA. A ridiculous claim, but a real reflection of how the rest of the world currently perceives our basketball team. And after those 10 lost years under Robert Sarver, I never thought we'd be in this place again.
Things are bad right now, Bick. There's no denying that. That's an absolutely ridiculous take. How could the worst owner in the history of basketball be one that is hell-bent on winning a championship?
Yeah, that's the shame of it all. That is the shame of it all.
The processes to get there obviously have failed miserably.
Listen, this is a function, and we've seen this in many other sports, in many other different realms. This is what happens when you come into a new endeavor and act like you have got the magic formula. People resent it. And then if you fail, they're going to clobber you over the head with it.
Yes.
I agree with you. That is a patently absurd take. But once again, I'm going to draw the distinction between picking apart the lunacy and idiocy of the take versus the fact that it is being said on the largest platform in sports. That's the latter part is this is the way the Phoenix Suns are being consumed and perceived across this country.
No, it's true.
And that's because I find that to be absurd, because Matt Ishbia's biggest crime, if you will, is spending obscene amounts of money to win a championship. And we can never forget to celebrate that, because there are fans who are very, very frustrated with Matt Ishbia. And you need to contextualize what you're talking about here.
There are different ways, though, to be a bad owner. It's not just not spending money.
No.
Like Daniel Snyder, Jerry Jones always spent a ton of money to try to win for their franchises.
Yes.
They just did it in the wrong way and were too meddlesome and all that stuff. So there are different ways. You're right. I mean, how could you mention Donald Sterling in the same breath and then say, like, this guy's going to be worse?
No. Again, we recognize what he's saying is hyperbolic at best and idiotic at worst. But the fact of the matter is, it's being said. That's the way our basketball team is now being framed, because they have spent, $700 million the last 2 years and 0 playoff victories to show for it. And very little flexibility. I think, didn't we talk about that stat that the Phoenix Suns are the only team to not be in the play-in, the playoffs, or the NBA draft lottery?
Yeah, that's not a club you want to be in all by yourself.
That means no present and no future.
You brought up a point, too. It's not true. There's no way to quantify it, obviously. But what Stephen A. Smith says on the largest platform in sports, it becomes the truth for a lot of people. People hear it, they believe it, and then they'll spread it. And it's happening on ESPN's radio product as well.
The Phoenix Suns right now are the worst organization in U.S. professional sports. Matt Ishbia, it's his money. It's his team. He can do what he wants. But come on now, Matt. At a certain point, change that coach. Change that coach. Change that coach. What kind of continuity are you looking for when you don't have continuity to give a coach a chance? Not saying Mike Budenholzer is the second coming of Phil Jackson. But come on now. After 1 year, a guy who has an NBA championship ring, he only gets 1 year? Whew. I never thought I would say somebody would be worse than the Cleveland Browns or my Dallas Cowboys as a terrible organization. But right now, the Phoenix Suns are the worst organization in professional sports in the United States.
Look, Freddie Coleman is not a guy who's spewing hot takes like Stephen A.
He's
Smith.
not Stephen
I
A.
think that's also an asinine, ridiculous take.
Well, again, that
Like,
is based on his viewpoint that they just willy-nilly fired another head coach, and without knowing any details, you can read that Suns press release and surmise the Suns had very good reason to fire Mike Budenholzer.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back over the course of the season, and I find very good reason to fire Mike Budenholzer.
Absolutely.
And as we said earlier, it's not that they fired Mike Budenholzer after 1 year. It's that they fired him after 1 year after they fired Frank Vogel after 1 year also.
That was obviously the mistake.
That's the danger of it. The danger is the perception that you're scapegoating a head coach and you're masking the real issue, the root issues here. I do believe that we're going to learn something about Matt Ishbia in this offseason because listen, he's 43 years old, a 43-year-old multi-billionaire, hasn't failed very often in his life.
No.
And this has got to be a jarring 45. This has got to be a very jarring experience for a young man who knows nothing but hard charging his way to success.
Yes, but I also want to clarify something that I said. In calling Stephen A. Smith and Freddie Coleman's takes asinine, I'm not failing to acknowledge the fact that this is bad. This is a very, very dire situation. In fact, if you want to quantify it, I think the Suns are in the worst situation of any team in the NBA, and I don't think it's necessarily close.
I agree.
Some people would offer up the Philadelphia 76ers. They've got more flexibility than the Phoenix Suns do. But again, the ESPN model is to make everything about all time. Who's the best? Who's the worst? What's the legacy? Goodness gracious. Do we have to do that with every damn story? It's a bad situation. But it's a bad situation born from a desire to win, which is opposite. If you want to talk about the worst owners of all time, there's been a litany of owners in professional sports who didn't care one lick about winning. They cared about making money and saving money, and that's not the case here.
Listen,
there's been a lot of swings and a
a
lot of misses, and I hope and you brought it up a couple times today, Bick. Matt Ishbia saying, "I'm going to take a million swings at this." He needs to start connecting.
Yeah, that's it. He needs to get one of those new bats in Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah,
torpedo bat.
He needs to get a torpedo bat.
Torpedo Matt.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.